Mr. Friedland, thank you very much for having accepted the invitation on the Right Advice podcast, the first mining podcast in the DRC. You're a legend of the mining sector, and so I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. You started mining in Canada, and you quickly diverted your activities into Africa, particularly the DRC. Ivanhoe has made some excellent stride over the past decades. You're actually operating the Kakula copper mine, which is one of the biggest copper mine in the world. Can you tell me a little bit about what has, had you focused on the DRC so much over the past 30 years almost?
Arthur. Kamoa-Kakula is not the biggest copper mine in the world, but we're working on it. It will be number 4 in the world after 27 years of work. So Kamoa-Kakula, with almost 20,000 young Congolese, hardworking women and men, is just now creeping up on number 4 in the world. Next year, God willing, will be number 3. And by 2027, we see a path to being number 2.
Excellent.
And if we keep working together smoothly and as hard as we have, and with the blessings of our Creator, it's possible that we can become number 1 in time. We're certainly the largest new copper mine in the world.
Absolutely.
Largest new one. And, we've been working in the Congo since 1995, when Laurent Désiré Kabila marched into Kinshasa. So we're an overnight success after 28 or 29 years of work. Very hard work.
There's been a lot of Canadian, Chinese investment in the DRC, and I believe it's important for the DRC in regards to its mining sector to diversify its pool of investors. And we're in Saudi Arabia right now, and Saudi Arabia has a lot of capital that wants to be invested into different industries, and the mining sector is one of them. Do you reckon that it's a good opportunity for the DRC to seize Saudi capital right now and in the future?
You have a very young population in the Congo. Your median age is less than 19 years of age. You're a young, big, resource-rich country that has to continue to develop the conditions of stability to attract foreign investment. Foreign investors need to remind everyone that money is a coward. It runs away at the first sight of trouble. And but money is attracted to stability, clear government policy, and we see the DRC on a definite path of improvement.
Okay.
We think the last administration has dramatically improved the situation. Katanga, or the former Katanga province, we're in Lululaba, has some very young, very dynamic managers. We see the same in other provinces, in the former Katanga. So we're very optimistic about a bright future for the DRC, but it can, the whole country cannot be developed only on mining. There are many other sectors, like agriculture, for example, or developing sufficient electrical energy in a green way, in a sustainable way. And education is very, very, very important for the country. So we are very proud to have opened up our Kamoa Center of Excellence. Okay. His Excellency Laurent Désiré, the president, came along, and Felix Tshisekedi and his wife and entourage visited the mine and visited our Center of Excellence. Today we have we're approaching 18,000 employees, and more than 98% are Congolese, 98%.
That's impressive.
Soon it'll be 99% or more. And we're very, very happy and proud to present the progress that the Congolese people have developed in their mining industry here in Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
This has now become one of the largest centers of interest in mining. This is the third Future Minerals Summit. Okay. I spoke at the first summit and the second summit a year ago, and that was the third one. Okay. We always show our progress in the Congo to everyone in Saudi Arabia, but there are delegates here from all over the world. There are more than 40 mines ministers. I saw Minister, Her Excellency Antoinette, the Minister of Mines.
That's right.
From DRC. I saw her here. But there are at least 40 nations represented. All of those nations would like to have some honeybees come and bring some honey to their country.
Of course.
And it's important to understand that countries compete to attract Saudi capital or capital from Europe or from the United States. But because Congo has about 98% hydroelectric power and a very young population, and the Creator has given the Congo excellent mineral endowment, especially in cobalt and copper and lithium and iron and there are many other things waiting to be found. Having been in the country now since 1995 and early 96, let's do our math, that's 28 years.
That's right, correct.
28 years. I'm in a position to say that I've seen quite a lot of improvement after the Civil War period. Okay. I knew Laurent Désiré Kabila. I met Joe Kabila. I've met many personalities. And I'm really pleased to say that the young generation of Congolese people have really started to make a very big improvement in the country. That doesn't mean there isn't a long way to go,
of course.
But I think we're in a position here in Saudi Arabia to talk to our Saudi friends, to ask them to seriously consider investing in all sectors in the Congo, not just mining.
Right.
You don't build a modern economy just on mining. There's hydroelectricity development, railroad construction, ports, infrastructure, roads, education, agriculture. Education is really, really, really important.
It is.
Real estate development. The list is very long. The Congo currently enjoys excellent, numerical economic growth.
That's right.
5, 6, 7%. That's quite good, but it needs much more for 90 or 100 million people. I'm very happy to see the progress. And when I met you, Arthur, I saw you looked Congolese to me, big, strong guy with a hat. I'm happy to see you and talk to you. We just ran into each other at this giant conference. So there you go.
Thank you. There is a big deficit of copper on the world market. Experts say that the amount of production of copper needs to be 4 times the amount that it is today, and the price of copper might rise to $10,000, $15,000 a ton. How do you see the world economy being able to satisfy this demand that is going to keep growing over the next few years, over the next decades, to be able to satisfy the automobile industry, the technology industry, and the aerospace and defense industry as well? How do you see that?
No, that's a very good question. Arthur, the first thing we can say is nobody can predict the future.
That's right.
The only thing we know for sure about the price of copper is it will go up and down every day. But copper plays a very important role in the development of the world economy. We're optimistic about the price over time. There are many, many countries around the world racing to develop their own copper. Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, Brazil, Canada, the United States, Zambia, your next door neighbor, all over. People are searching for copper. So it's a question of the supply and demand balance.
Okay.
One of the great benefits of the Congo is that if you have hydroelectric power, you can produce the copper without using a lot of coal or oil, and so it's green copper. It produces less global warming gas. So really, we're not so much in the copper mining business as we are in the generation of hydroelectricity business, and that's why we have a very close partnership with SNEL, your national electricity utility, to cooperate to rehabilitate hydroelectric capacity and also to improve the grid. Okay. The electrical grid is getting a little old and tired. That's right. And so we have plans working with SNEL to upgrade the grid, to modernize the grid. Because even if you have new electricity at Inga, it's a long way to wheel that electricity to Kolwezi, for example, or Lubumbashi. So this is a monumental nation-building task to generate more clean hydroelectric power, generate more clean solar power, even wind power could be good in the Congo, and to upgrade the grid and to build schools and hospitals and farming. And we see that everything has to go together, and I want to add, it's very important to employ women as well as men, even in senior management. Okay. So in time, our ambition is to have 50% men and 50% women, all young Congolese. We're at 98% now, and of course, it would be mathematically perfect when we reach 100%.
Absolutely.
The chairman of our joint venture with the government, the government owns 20% of our joint venture, is a Congolese, Ben Munanga. He's a fantastic human being, a real leader. And we have a lot of young Congolese talent coming up the ranks very quickly. And, I'm 73 and a half years of age. I'm a grandfather.
Look at
Nothing makes me more happy than to see smiling, energetic, young Congolese women and men building a great future for their country.
Absolutely.
And that's real. That's real. And if people have pride in their work and pride of what they're achieving, other countries see that, and then they want to add to it.
That's right.
If a restaurant is serving good food, there's a long line to get into that restaurant. And if a restaurant's got angry people and the food tastes no good, nobody wants to eat in that restaurant. So I think the Congo is on a very good path now. I think I'm quite optimistic about the development of a very sophisticated, multidimensional mining industry in the DRC. Okay. And we're certainly acting as ambassadors to exactly that end. And we do produce at ivanhoemines.com a lot of videos and continuous information about our affairs. And we always like to show pictures of our Congolese people, because it's not a number like 19,000 people. It's 19,000 individual human beings who have families whose lives are being improved by building something for their nation. We've paid a very large amount of money in taxes to the Congolese government. Okay. They deserve it. That's right. It's their, and the government is also a partner in the affairs, and the money goes to is very clearly audited. It's very clean. It's very legitimate. It's very real. And if we keep on this path, it will grow, and it will continue to grow.
Certainly.
If you turn back the hands of time to around 1900 to 1950, Congo was number one in the world in copper production. But it was passed by Chile, and then it was passed by Peru. It fell down the world ranking. There was domestic disturbances and problems in Congolese history. It had to live through a colonial legacy. And there have been difficult periods. But I want to tell you that from my perspective, we love the Congolese people. We really think that you're going to build a great country. It's going to take another 20 or 30 years, another generation, but it's definitely happening. And I think you should visit Kamoa-Kakula yourself.
Absolutely.
And what you should do is you should interview young Congolese with no warning. Just ask them, what do you really think is going on here? Really find out what people really think, because you can't really fool anybody. These handphones are, everyone has one, and they go out to the whole world.
That's right.
Nobody controls the technology. You don't have to own a television station anymore.
100%.
You and I can talk. It can go viral and it goes worldwide.
That's right.
So I think I'm very pleased with the interest shown from various ministers around the world here in this conference. And I had an opportunity to show a movie in the general session about Kamoa-Kakula, as well as a lot of the new technologies we're using to explore in the Western Forelands, to look for the next mine and the next mine. All of these things are gifts from God, but they take the blood, sweat, and tears of real human beings to put them in production.
Just two more questions. And jumping on what you just said, why you seem to have a never-ending love for the DRC. You just discovered the Kitoko mine and other Western Foreland targets recently. In spite of all the investment that you have already made in the DRC and all the work that you have already done, you keep investing, you keep dreaming about the DRC, you still have a vision for what can be done in this country. Estimates say that it's probably the richest country in the world in natural resources and exploited natural resources. Why that love? I've seen many pioneer in the industry, but I've rarely seen somebody who speak about the DRC with such passion as you do.
We've been in Africa since 1992, continuously. We've worked in South Africa, we've worked in Zambia, we've worked in Ghana, we've worked in Gabon, Botswana, Nigeria, Niger, all over. We think the future of humanity will be made in Africa. Africa has 1.4 billion people, about the same population as China.
That's right.
But it's much bigger than China and has much more natural resources than China and has a much younger population than China. In China, people are getting older. The youngest population in the world is in Africa, and Africa can now benefit from all the technologies from around the world coming back to Africa. But all of the developing world needs resources from Africa. Some countries will do better than others. Some will be beset with corruption or perhaps tribal animosities. Other countries will be a shining example and develop themselves. There's an enormous amount of interest in the United States, where over 24% of our population are descended from Africans. A lot of our greatest sportsmen and musicians and artists and teachers are African Americans. So it's my opinion that there should be more American involvement in Africa. We have Oprah Winfrey, or we have Morgan Freeman. We have just great Americans. There's so much potential to bring Americans to Africa and vice versa, Africans to America. And we think that a nation like the Congo should diversify its foreign investment.
100%.
The more, the better.
Absolutely.
In other words, it's not a good idea to have only one investor. It's a good idea to have as many investors as possible. The Chinese bring many benefits. The Japanese bring many benefits. Investors from Qatar or Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or the United Arab Emirates, excellent. Europeans, Americans, the more the better, right? But nothing succeeds like success. You catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. So you have Congolese music. That Congolese music, you have great young musicians. That music should go around the world. You should make Congolese film and entertainment. Right. Film Congolese stories. Young Congolese should make movies and television series. Everything should be done as quickly as possible. So, I'm not only in the mining business, I was also in the film business. We worked in Hollywood. And so we see lots of potential. And the most important thing is the massive human potential you have in your women as well as men. Young Congolese women, educating them, tremendous talents. When you come to Kamoa-Kakula, come visit our banana plantations, our chicken farms, all of our agricultural developments, our brick-making factories, our construction companies, how each mining job is generating 10 other employees in related but not direct mining.
Okay.
For example, we have a women's clothing cooperative that is sewing all the uniforms for the miners. And now they've expanded into just making clothing for the general Congolese market. Or we have women that started growing eggs and growing chickens who now are starting to make restaurants, serving an omelet.
Okay.
It's growing.
That's right.
And so the mining acted as a catalyst for broader economic development. And you know, when you're a grandfather like me and you're 73, it's wonderful to see in a very troubled world, and there are many troubles in the world,
100%.
my brother.
100%.
There are many troubles in the world. We need to create a successful situation in the Congo, and I really truly believe that while nothing is easy in this world and nothing is easy in life, I can assure you from my eyes, over the last 28 years, there's been a lot of progress, and you have a very bright future ahead of you, as long as everyone works together and builds a great new nation. And I'm really confident that that's actually happening. I don't like to talk about it here in Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. I'd rather talk about it right there on the ground in Lululaba province.
Thank you. One last question. The show is called The Right Advice. What advice would you give to a Congolese man or woman who wants to succeed, whether it's in the mining sector, whether it's in other industries? Some of the young people sometimes don't believe in the country, in the DRC, because obviously the success doesn't trickle down, fast enough for them.
Forget about trickle down, my brother. Make your own life. Work hard. Focus on something that you enjoy doing. Mm-hmm. If you like to do a video call like this and you want to be in media, then focus on this and get better and better at it. And it'll go viral. It's a very important thing in society to garner listeners through this technology. Why not? Everybody should speak to their strength and work hard. And there's a billion different pathways to success. Look at Mr. Dangote. That's right. He's built a giant situation. No one even had an oil refinery in all of Nigeria. Now he's going to build a giant world-class refinery in Nigeria so people don't have to buy their gasoline from Europe. Mm-hmm. So there are many dynamic entrepreneurs in Africa. And I think one of the most interesting things of the vision of President Felix Tshisekedi that I find most interesting is the government's desire to create a class of Congolese businessmen who become millionaires, mm-hmm. who generate wealth themselves and then hire more young Congolese. This is a very good concept. Okay. And there's absolutely no reason why this can't succeed. We have to have large numbers of Congolese businessmen in mining. It could be in trucking or machinery, mm-hmm. or housing or construction or clothing or restaurants, because a mine generates 10 times more employment in non-mining activities around the mine.
That's right.
And so I think the government's on the right path to see the creation of young women and men that develop a business. Like, you should make a big business out of what you're doing right here. Right. And get advertisers and just grow this, because it's a very valuable function. And there are many other people here in Saudi Arabia you can interview.
Absolutely.
Well, we can find you a few.
True.
Okay?
Certainly. So
Arthur, there you go. To be continued.
Absolutely.
You have an invitation to come to Kamoa-Kakula.
I certainly will come there very
Kipushi.
soon. Kipushi as well. Yeah. I haven't visited. It was on my list, I have to admit.
Yeah,
it was on my list.
Kipushi, the tremendous progress in Kipushi.
Okay.
We're very proud of it.
No,
and that's what Jekka means.
I'll be coming there very soon. Thank you very much, Mr. Friedland, for having accepted our invitation, and we'll be in touch very soon.
Merci bien, mon frère. À bientôt.
Thank you. Bye-bye.